Hey everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star the Flippin' Hippo, and this is part 2 of my bullet journal series for 2021. In the last video, we talked about what kinds of notebooks and journals you can buy to start your bullet journal and how to do the initial setup of one. Today, we're going to talk about routines and to-dos, because these are all things that you're going to want to put in your bullet journal to keep you organized, to keep you sane, and make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to be doing each day. So it's important to determine the difference between a routine and a to-do. A routine is something that you do on a regular basis. Oftentimes you've done this routine so much that it's become habit and you can almost do it on autopilot. In my live show this week, we talked about making good habits and creating those. And sometimes you have to force them in the beginning before they become a routine. They say it takes about 30 days of doing something before it becomes routine. So routines can be things that you're already doing every single day without even thinking about it, such as taking your vitamins in the morning. Most of us reach for those first thing. Getting a cup of coffee. Whatever you do when you have your cup of coffee, whether you sit down and start doing work or you sit down with your emails. Some people take a shower, get their coffee, start doing their makeup. That's all routines. Do you make your bed first thing? Routines can be something as simple as how you get stuff ready when you're cooking dinner, how and when you walk your dogs and where you go. Just things that you do so often that they become a part of your life. But routines can also be new habits that you're trying to create. So if you've made any new resolutions or whatever for the new year, and you're trying to make something a routine and you're repeating it over and over until it becomes a routine, creating that new habit, that's a routine. But because you're creating it, you got to kind of remind yourself to do it and force yourself to do it until it becomes a habit. And those are things you want to write down as well to remind yourself. Let's say you've decided you're going to start drinking 8 glasses of water a day, but up until now you haven't. So that's not an ingrained routine right now. You don't just reach for those glasses. So you could put a checklist every day in your bullet journal of like 8 little boxes, and you can check whenever time you have a glass of water. And at the end of 30 days of forcing yourself to remember that, it should be almost routine, and you should be able to just drink 8 glasses of water a day because you're used to it. You're used to grabbing those. Exercise, how many things you list a day, what days you do photos. It can be work-related, not work-related, but those are what routines are. Now, to-dos are things that you have to do, things that you need to get accomplished. And these are also things that can show up on a daily basis, or more than once a week, or more than once a month, but they're not necessarily a routine or a habit. To-dos are more like tasks, things that you have to get accomplished. You need to list every day. That should be part of your routine, but you still need to consider listing a to-do because you need to check that off every day. If you clean your gutters every 3rd Sunday, that would be a to-do that you put in your bullet journal every 3rd Sunday. If you have to call your doctor's office or refill prescriptions, if you need to go grocery shopping, do laundry, things like that would be like to-dos. So you want to figure out your routines first before you start writing them in your journal, because everyone's routines are going to be different. And I kind of touched on this yesterday in the setup. But are your routines the same every day, or are they going to be different every day? Most of us have a morning routine that's the same every morning. From when we wake up until we're dressed for the day, most of us go through the same motions. So you could have a morning routine in your bullet journal that you follow every single morning. And those are things that you wouldn't have to rewrite each day as part of a routine or a to-do list for every single day. If you have specific routines that you follow on Mondays, it's going to be the same every Monday and Tuesday, then you could have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the days of the week and the routines that you do on those days written out. Now, if you're one of those folks that has a super busy life full of lots of events and family and chaos and practices and animals and things are always changing and things are always different, you probably don't want to write a routine list Monday through Friday, because one Monday to the next is going to be different for you. that case, you probably want to do a to-do list or a routine list every night for the next day, just to make sure that you get everything in there. But most of us have a morning, afternoon, and evening routine that we all keep to. And you can put that in one place. I write mine in pencil. That way, if anything ever changes, and guess what? It's going to change because life is always changing. So I like to write my routines in pencil. That way, when things change, I can erase it and change it as needed. I also like to put spaces between the items so that I can add stuff as needed without having to erase as often. I'm going to show you my routines now. Now, my routines are pulled a lot from the Fly Lady system, and some are my own, and my bullet journal is kind of like a cross between a planner, a bullet journal, and the control journal that she talks about in her system. She really teaches routines and doing specific chores and tasks each day of the week. So we can see here that my morning routine is always the same. And it looks like a lot written out like that, but if you look closely, it's kind of like broken down very small so that I go step by step by step. Now, I do most of this without even looking at this anymore. But when I first implemented like some of this stuff, like having a protein shake and doing exercises, it wasn't really part of my daily life. And so I wrote down my morning routine, and I had to check it sometimes to see where I was at and what would come next. But after a year of pretty much having this same routine, I can get out of bed and get all the way to the end of it and have done it all. I still double check myself though. I just kind of look at it and glance at it and make sure, just like a to-do list, but I don't check anything off actually. But I just make sure that I've done everything on that list. But that is my morning routine. That is every morning, even the weekends. The only time anything would be different is if I had an appointment early in the morning or somewhere to be that I had to get up early and go right away, and I couldn't go through this routine. But this is Monday through Sunday, every day. So I only have one morning routine written. And then throughout the week, we don't live very exciting lives. Even pre-COVID, you guys know that Keith and I are pretty much homebodies. We're hermits. We're reclusive. Not that we're antisocial. We're just the type of folks that, hey, now that we work at home, we love being in our own home, in our own comfort zones. We have everything set up here just the way we like it. And that's how some people are. Some people are very social and need to go out. And some people like to be inside their own home. And if you work for yourself, you can do whatever you want. Pre-COVID. Right now, some places are still in lockdown and we still have mask mandates. But if you like to be, out of the house, if you're one of those people that likes to work outside of the house while you're self-employed, you can always pack up your laptop, go to the library, go to a Starbucks and sit and work. But that's just not who we are. Everyone is different. We're very reclusive. So I have a routine for each day of the week. It's different each day, but from Monday to Monday is the same. Tuesday to Tuesday is the same. So I write those down one time, again, in pencil so that I can erase if I need to, because life is always changing. But I do have every day of the week kind of written down and just what I do on that day. So I know every Tuesday I'm doing filming, pre-recording videos for you guys. I have my live show at 7, and I know I'm supposed to sweep and mop the eBay room. And then if you look at Friday, that's Keith's turn to vacuum. I should be taking some extra photos and listing. And then I put that is our wow night and our night off, because we typically order in food and watch a couple of shows, and then we'll play video games together. Every Wednesday we do groceries. Every Thursday I clean the bathroom, and we send out 20% offers on Poshmark. So yes, very, very routine, boring life I lead, and I absolutely love it. I live a boring life. So if you do the same things like I do, you can just have one morning routine list, an evening routine if you want to put one in. I don't have an evening routine in here. I used to up until this bullet journal, all the way through the end of 2020. I used to have an evening routine that was much like my morning routine. It was written in pencil, and it basically had the gist of wash your makeup off, do something calming for an hour. That would be when I would go over my bullet journal, check my to-do list for the next day. Now I'm into those dot paintings that I really like. But my evening routine is so ingrained now that I don't even write it down. Now, if your days are going to be different all the time, this writing one routine for every Monday is probably not going to work for you, and you're probably going to want to do a list every night for the next day. Now, I do have my weekly calendars like I've showed you, and I do put things on there that I need to do that day, and I check that against my routines and make sure I do everything. But I have just people I need to email, if I need to pay the bills, if I have an appointment somewhere, if there's something important I need to do. There's days where there's just so much stuff, and then there's days where there's not. Because some days we have more to do than other days. Some days we have to remember to do more. I like to put everything in my weekly calendar for to-dos, everything. So when someone opens a return on eBay, I check that deadline date and I write in my book to make sure that it disappears, and I have to call eBay if it doesn't. If we have a wholesale lot coming in, I write it down so we know to be prepared that shipment's coming in that day. I put down doctor's appointments, groceries. Sometimes I put my menu list in here for the week. Sometimes I put the bills that I need to pay. Hey, here's Keith's birthday. I didn't even write it. I just know from the cupcake. But anyway, so, again, like I said yesterday about how there's no fast and hard rules to the bullet journal. There's no fast and hard rules really to how you're keeping track of your routines and your to-dos. It's just important that you keep track of them. Put your routines in here, especially if you're trying to build new habits. If you're doing something differently, you need to put it in there so that you're checking every day that you did it. You need to see visibly where you wrote it down and that you did it. But you can keep track of them daily, weekly, one big list because everything's the same all the time. I do recommend pencil, but you can write in pen, absolutely, if you want. I have a friend who does a bullet journal, and she likes to write in pen and not pencil because if something changes, she just puts a straight line through it. And then she writes under it what changed, and she can look back. Now, if I erase something and rewrite a new routine in, I can't look back at the year and be like, hey, I used to walk only a mile, now I'm walking 5 miles or whatever. But it's just so important that you have a visual and something holding you accountable to those routines and those to-dos. Now, you can also have a master to-do list and a master project list if you so choose. You just go to a new page, number the page, put it in your index. That page 55 is my to-do list. And you can put your to-dos there. Things that aren't date important, I guess is what I want to say. Like if you have a goal to build a gazebo in your backyard before the end of the spring, you can just put it on a to-do list and work on it whenever you have time. That's not something you would necessarily have to put on Tuesday, January 19th. It has to be done. So your to-dos can be a list on a specific day, a specific month, things I'm thinking of doing. The one thing they do say about if you don't get a to-do done, you want to put an arrow through your box, and I'm going to show you that. So if you get a to-do list done or something on your list done, they're going to have little boxes because you're going to draw them in, right? So you see how make appointment with my primary care physician right there has a check in it in the box because I did it. Now let's say that I didn't do it for whatever reason. Like I was going to do a live show last week and something came up, so I didn't do it. So you see where it says live thread up boxing, and it has an arrow up out of the box and it says page 14. It's because the arrow denotes to me that I didn't do the task. The page 14 tells me where to go to see it again. And now you can see I'm planning to go live this Friday instead. So anytime you don't get a task done, you don't have to feel bad about it. You just move it. When can you do it? When can it be completed? When can it be done? And you just put an arrow, and that's like a basic bullet journal system. If you guys want to watch YouTubes on how to do bullet journals, that's one of the basics they show you, to come up with like symbol system. Exclamation point means it's super duper important. I kind of more go with color coding. I use a red pen for super duper important things. But you can use color coding with your pens, or you can use an exclamation point. But they say to put the arrow through the box and then just what page you moved it to. That way, you're not obsessing over the fact that you didn't finish something. You're not berating yourself or beating yourself up for it. You're just acknowledging, hey, I was going to do that day, but it didn't happen. Here's the arrow. Here's the page I put it on. That's when I'll do it. So it makes for a nice, easy to read system as you go through. And I guess other than that, you just want to make sure you get into the habit of checking your bullet journal. And I say every night because that's when I do it, but you could do it in the morning. Depends on what kind of person you are. You're an evening person, night person, morning person. Just make sure that once a day, either like last thing before you end the evening, before you go to relax and go get ready for bed, either then or first thing in the morning, maybe with that cup of coffee. But either last thing before you go to bed or first thing before you start your day, you always just want to take a good look at your to-do list for that day, your routines for that day. If you're doing the weekly or the daily calendar, you want to look at that day and be like, what am I supposed to be doing today or tomorrow? I like to do mine the night before. I just make sure I have everything written down that I want to get done. I double check everything. And then in the morning, I can get up and just know it's here for me to look at, to do. But some people like to plan their morning out that morning. Pick one time, be consistent, and make it a habit. Make it a habit to check this every single day. Write in it. Keep track of what's going on. Sometimes if, like, we're on vacation and we're doing, when we went to eBay Open the last couple of years, when they had eBay Open, rather than writing to-do lists because we were on vacation, I would just go in each night and write what we did that day. So then it became like a journal. So because I wasn't working and I didn't really have to-do lists and I just kind of wanted to remember that time in Vegas, I would write down everything I did that day and who I did it with and where I ate and what I ate, and kind of like just journal with it. You can do that. You can do that anytime. You can go in there every night and write down what you did that day and keep track of it. Some people like to do that. You can use it as a place to put your feelings or, whatever you want. The sky's the limit. Bullet journals are as individual as we are, so yours should really reflect you and your personality. Whether you're a person who writes all in pencil, all in black ink, or someone who wants to watercolor it. It should just reflect you as an individual and do its job in keeping you organized, keeping you on track, keeping you on task, keeping track of your appointments, your to-dos, and your routines. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, guys. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you leave. Really helps the channel. If you haven't already and you'd like to, please subscribe and help us feed a hungry hippo. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at Flippin' Hippos on all social media. And don't forget to join our Facebook group. Link is down below. Until next time, go be productive. Go work on these bullet journals. Make some money. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.